Divine greetings, ones and zeros, zeros and ones, boys and girls that are now men and women, kings and queens, gods and goddesses, spiritual beings of this divine matrix. Welcome to this live episode. My name is Clay, and in this transmutation full moon in Capricorn, I will be talking about harmonizing the full moon in Capricorn with the new moon that is going to be coming up for Cancer while I'm in this Cancer sun. And tonight, I did a live yesterday, and tonight I want to transmute according to the throat chakra. And as I transmute according to the throat chakra, I'm going to look at a few things. And before I get started in looking at those few things, or as I get started, I want to talk about the fire and the moon. There's the moon. The moon is still looking very full, and I want to talk about the moon. Now, let me just show the fire for a moment as I breathe and gather myself. And as I breathe and gather myself, I want to talk about greetings in the chat, greetings in the chat, greetings Khadija, greetings in the chat. I want to talk about how it is that I'm processing what I'm processing. So now, I'm processing according to the throat chakra. So let me explain how it is that I'm processing. So I have a process in cleaning my soul. Every month I practice cleaning my soul according to the moon's direction, according to the full moon's direction, and according to the new moon's direction. As I explained yesterday, the moon is a time, or full moon is a time when the tide is high. New moon is a time when the tide is high. And full moon is when the tide is high in its physicality. New moon is when the tide is high in its ethereal nature. And as I look at those two situations, I want to talk about how it is that the process works. So right now, it's the throat chakra. And if you're not familiar with the chakra system, I'll go through it right now. The 7 chakras in the body, coming from the root, which is closest to the earth, is the root chakra, and then the sacral chakra, and then the solar plexus chakra, and then the heart chakra, then the throat chakra, which is the 5th chakra as you ascend, then there's the 3rd eye chakra, then there's the crown chakra, and outside of the body as you ascend is the soul star chakra, which connects you to the cosmos, and entering into the earth, it is in that ascending direction, it is the earth star chakra. So today I'm focusing on the throat chakra. The throat chakra is responsible for your expression. and in particular your expressions, whether it be truth or lies. And I'm practicing my soul work and cleaning my soul work, or cleaning my soul rather. And in doing so, it is to speak the truth and speak the truth only. Cost it what it will. Those who hide the wrongs they did does the wrong thing still. So in this full moon season, I practice that the full moon is actually the heart chakra, and then 3 days before and 3 days after is when I focus my work intensely on my soul. So in the ascending order that I just described, today is the throat chakra according to the full moon, and then tomorrow is going to be the third eye chakra day, and then after that it's the crown chakra day. And if you don't know, I'll go through what each chakra is responsible for. The root chakra has to do with the love and fear. It's based in survival or thriving. The sacral chakra is energy wheel. The sacral chakra energy wheel has to do with guilt and pleasure. It's the emotional chakra. It deals with the energy in motion and directs the energies in motion throughout the entire body, or the entire vessel, or as Rasta would say, the entire goodie. Then there is the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with your willpower. What is willpower geared towards? And when you use your willpower according to divine will, then it is done in an orderly manner, and when it is not, it is done in a shameful manner. So in this chakra, it is going according to the will of the divine, or it's going according to the will of the false self or the egoic self. And then next, Rastafari. Yes, Rastafari in the chat. Tyler Costa. And this Rasta is talking about the chakra system as it moves the energy through your vessel. And after the solar plexus is the heart chakra. The heart chakra has to do with understanding grief. And then next is the throat chakra, which is what I'm focusing on tonight. And the throat chakra has to do with your expression, whether you're expressing truth or whether you're expressing lies. Next is the third eye chakra, and it has to do with illusions and delusions and insights, whether you're seeing clearly or you're not seeing clearly. Then the next chakra is the crown chakra. And crown chakra has to do with egoic attachments or non-egoic attachments or divine attachments, which is not an attachment, it's really allowance, or you could say proprietary. And then it goes out of the body or out of the vessel into the soul star chakra, which there is where you have personal will and divine will. And then circulating forward into the earth, it has to do with the awareness, which is the earth chakra, awareness, or the lack of awareness, which is called greed. So let me give the ones in the chat a picture of the fire and the moon. So as I transmute through the throat chakra, and as I feel the warmth of the fire, as I feel the warmth of the fire, I want to talk about the false identity, the egoic self, and reclaim some of the words that we have given over to the malevolent forces, to the demonic forces. For example, the word ego. Ego is not a bad thing. Ego is a good thing. When you are egoic, however, then that is a bad thing. That is a demonic thing when you're egoic. Um, Another word I want to look at is patriarchy. There is nothing wrong with the word patriarchy, or patriarchy in this age of spiritual guidance tends to focus on the bad things, tends to focus on the bad things of patriarchy. It wants to say that patriarchy is bad. However, patriarchy is not bad. How it is used is to represent the bad. And I'm saying that patriarchy is not bad, patriarchy is good. It is the misappropriated patriarchy that is bad. Just like ego is not bad, it is the misappropriated ego that is bad. Anything that is misappropriated is bad. And that is the focus of the expression for tonight's revelation in transmuting this Capricorn full moon. Now, looking at the Capricorn full moon, what does Capricorn represent? Capricorn represents the worldly pursuits. It represents the worldly pursuits in the throat chakra, right? In your expression, what it is that you are seeking. Are you seeking to clean your soul? Are you seeking to remove your trauma? Or are you seeking to gain financial security? Are you seeking to gain security through a mate? Are you seeking to gain security through having children? Are you seeking to gain security by not having children? Are you seeking to gain security by thievery, by robbing? Are you seeking to gain security by imposing your malevolent desires onto others? Are you seeking to gain security through misappropriated means? And if you're seeking to gain security through misappropriated means, then that means you're being demonic in one way, shape, or the form, which means that you're in one way, shape, and form, you're being demonic. And for those who are in the fifth dimension, which the fifth dimension, for those who are not aware, the fifth dimension is the love frequency. So let me describe that for a while. The love frequency, if you are not familiar, the love frequency is the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is when you are operating on a vibration that love comes first. Your energy flows through love as it enters into your root chakra that I mentioned earlier, rather than it flowing through fear. Because when it flows through fear, it is going to cause misappropriations. And when it does that, you are relegated or kept in the three-dimensional aspect of life. And to the degree that you cleanse your soul, you'll be put into the four-dimensional aspect of life. And the four-dimensional aspect of life means that you are looking at time in a less greedy manner. You relate time to infinity, right? Because when you're in 3D, your perception of time is that the ending of life, sorry, my apologies. When you're in 3D, your perception is that the ending of the flesh is the ending of your life. And in the event that you are a religious person, you may say you're going to go to heaven, or if you have some other affiliation with other religions, you may say that you will be taken to a place where you experience milk and honey and everything will be safe there. However, when you're in the fifth dimension, when you're in the fifth dimensional frequency, you accept and account for your existence in every aspect that there is imaginable. So while you're here on earth, you know that earth is where you have milk and honey. Earth is where you have heaven. Earth is where you have nirvana. Earth is where everything is done, or everything continues in your life process. As earth is where you continue your life process, you have the appreciation that no amount of money, no amount of sexual intercourse, no amount of having children, no amount of ruling people's mentality, no amount of imposing your energy on anyone can give you the satisfactory feeling of divine expression. So you go inward. And when you go inward, you become intimate with yourself. And as you become intimate with yourself, you find pleasure with being with yourself. And in the event that someone joins you, or you join someone in a pursuable atmosphere, then it brings pleasure. So at this time, I'm reminding anyone in the chat and anyone who sees this later on to make comments. As you make those comments, well-hearted, well-doing comments, as you make those comments, I will answer those comments or questions. And a comment that I'm hearing right now is, what is spirituality? And spirituality is anything that gets you or keeps you in the way of doing your soul work. And as I mentioned, soul work, I'm reminded to remind myself who it is that I say that I am. And I am that I am says also that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And as I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, I'm reminded of the Trinity. And in that Trinity, the Trinity expresses itself in 3s, 6, and 9. The 3, 6, and 9. These are all feminine aspects of understanding, understanding, and overstanding duality. And the 3, the first completion, is the first fertility member. And as I mentioned, the 3, I'm instructed by my spirit to describe the 3 bodies. And what are the 3 bodies? There are 3 aspects of each part of existence. So there is the spiritual realm, there's the soul realm, and there's the physical realm. Let me say that again. There's the spiritual realm, there is the soul realm, and there is the physical realm. Now, the physical realm has to do with densities. And this density has 3 realms also. The 3 realms that I speak to is the atomic realm, the etheric realm, and the physical realm. So physicality is divided and subdivided into 3. That's the atomic realm, the etheric realm, and the physical realm. And then there's the soul body. The soul body has to do with the astral realm. Then there is the platonic realm, and there is the catonic realm. These 3 aspects of the soul make up the trinity of the soul. Then the spiritual realm is infinite. In this spiritual realm, there is infinite arrangements. So the 3 naturally dwells within the spiritual realm, as well as the 6, as well as the 9. And numerically speaking, the 9 is the represents spiritual completion. Now let me look at the numbers again. 3 represents physical completion, 6 represents soul completion, and 9 represents spiritual completion. The 3, where there's a physical completion, means that there is an opportunity to excel or ascend into the 4th dimensional realm. And as you excel and ascend into the 4th dimensional realm, then you have the opportunity to experience change. And as you have the opportunity to experience change, that is the 5D realm. In the 5D realm is where change is constant. Change is constant. In the 6th realm, 6D realm, as well as the number 6, represents the soul. And this number 6, as it represents the soul, represents reciprocation. So the soul is eternal. The soul never dies. The soul is continuous. The soul goes from time to time to time to time. And as you go from time to time, there are times when you decide not to use this particular soul to enter into Earth's atmosphere, and you as a spiritual being traverse other atmospheres. As you traverse other atmospheres, as the manifestation of that spirit of your spirit's choice. So 7 represents manifestation. 7 represents physical manifestation as well as spiritual manifestation. And as you see the fire, I'm going to show the fire. As you see the fire, you'll see the redness and the different colors depending on the camera, what the camera is showing, and I'm showing the moon also. So 7 represents that physical manifestation that you're seeing, and right now you can imagine the heat of the fire. That is also a manifestation that is non-physical, and that is governed by the 7. And then there's the 8th realm, or 8D, and that 8th realm represents eternal. And that eternal realm is also infinite, so it's infinitely eternal. And once you traverse that plane to a certain degree, you enter into the 9th realm. And that is as far as I extend my imagination, as I do not find it necessary to go further into the 10th and 11th, because the 10th and 11th and 12 and so on and so forth is a repetition of the other previous realms in different multiplicities, in different dimensional aspects. And in this soul journey, I have currently no interest in going through there. However, if you have a question regarding other dimensions, I may be able to answer those questions. So now, as I was saying, I started with 3, 6, and then 9. I'll go to the 2. 2-dimensional realm is the realm where the inanimate objects live. For example, the trees, the metal that you're looking at the fence, the earth, the concrete, the everything that is physical is in the 2-dimensional realm. And then the 1-dimensional realm is that which is before the physical, that has taken to the atomic nature. That is the 1-dimensional realm. And that takes care of the realms. And I am going through this process here tonight with everyone, or in the public, to hold myself accountable for knowing these realms, for knowing these truths and abiding by these truths. So whenever I speak on these issues, or these issues in my tissues, whenever I speak on these, I rewatch the video and I ask my spirit questions as I integrate these varying forms of knowledge within my soul. Because the soul is here to integrate knowledge into it as it remembers who it is. And the soul is the vessel for the spirit, and the body is the vessel for the soul. So the spirit enters the soul, and the soul enters the body, and the body enters the earth. and until there is a greetings, brethren, inner standing, overstanding. Good to see you here. So I was talking about the soul entering the earth, and as the soul enters into the earth, the soul enters into the earth's soul, and it enters into the earth's physicality, and then you manifest as a physicality in the earth, as a physical body, as a physical goody, as Rasta would say, or a physical vessel, as probably is more commonly understood, overstood, and understood. Now, as I am here talking, expressing this throat chakra full moon, if there's any questions in the chat, I encourage one and all to put well-to-do questions or well-to-do comments in the chat. I do welcome them so we can have a conversation. Now, let me see. What is it that my spirit wants to uncover right now? Let me see. As I am here, let me see. Okay, so I'm in the midst of a transmission. So let me continue this transmission. My life has been a terrific journey, and I use the word terrific because it is tumultuous, meaning it's had some challenges, and I am seeing that those challenges are paying dividends. It's getting more and more enjoyable, more and more pleasurable, I should say, rather than enjoyable. It's getting to be a more pleasurable existence here on earth, particularly after the past 6 years. So, as I've spoken on before, I had a schizophrenic mental break when I was 38. I'm currently now 44, so that was 6 years ago. And before that, I was living a life. I was an architect. I still am an architect. And as I lived that life, though, that life exemplified the Capricorn aspect. I was successful in being that educated person who, through investing into the system of colonization, the system of narcissism, the system of capitalism, I was successful in that aspect. Now, or at 38, I was hit with schizophrenia. And through doing my spiritual work, through doing my soul work, I came to the realization and recognition that I had invested heavily in the malevolent aspect of life. That is the bad side of life. Because I was using fear energy. As successful as I am, or as I was in the using the fear energy, I saw in the schizophrenic break and coming up until this point that that was a bad investment. And in that sense, it's been terrible. It's been a terror on my soul. And I've spent the last 6 years cleaning my soul. And as I've spent the last 6 years cleaning my soul and coming up on this full moon here on Capricorn, I'm realizing that now things are beginning to become more amazing. So that's why I said terrific, because now it's being the terrible has been alchemized into something beautiful. Here I am, a person with a schizophrenic mind, and schizophrenia is no joke. schizophrenia, having a schizophrenic mind is something that is challenging. And I chose that pathway because I wanted a hard course here on earth. I wanted a hard course in the soul's advancement. So I'm at the stage now where 6 years later, I can safely say that I'm an anomaly. I am an anomaly, right? As we are all anomalies. I'm speaking to the truth that in therapy, and as I've spoken to many people, not many people grasp schizophrenia and the way schizophrenia works the way that I do, the way that I've come to understand myself. And I'll speak to schizophrenia as it being a fragmentation of the mind. The fragmentation of the mind, as I've witnessed, goes into the billions, because there's billions of people on the earth, and we are all one people. There is literally no separation. So in my schizophrenic break, I could hear billions of people talking at the same time. And for example, I'll say that inner standing, overstanding in the chat is one of my brethrens. And as I say that inner standing, overstanding is one of my brethren, I literally have an understanding of who inner standing, overstanding is, because he's here algorithmically on this channel. And I say he, and if it's not a he, I stand to be corrected. If it's a she, then I stand to be corrected. Either way, that presence is within my mental cognition. It's within my soul's cognition. And as it is within my soul's cognition, then it is myself, right? The difference being that inner standing, overstanding has individuated to be its own self, or his own self, or if it's a her, it's okay, there you go, it's a he. Give thanks. Inner standing, overstanding is a he. Now, he has individuated to create his own self. So within him there is me, and within me there is he. And this reminds me of the African proverb that says, titled Ubuntu, and Ubuntu says, I am because we are. So literally, there is no separation, yet still we facilitate separation, so we may have each our individuation, we may each have our own ego. And as we each have our own ego, we each must put away the egoic self. We each must put away the egoic self. Give thanks, inner standing, overstanding. That says, I likes this. Yes, I'm very appreciative of that comment. I too full joy this reasoning. So now there's Ubuntu that says, I am because we are. We have all individuated to give us all an experience of being a God, right? As we all individuate to give each one the experience of being a God, there is this energy signature that we call free will. And this energy signature that we call free will is, how do I say it, is synonymous with what scientists or the secular world calls course correction. So in nature, we have the terminology course correction. So for example, there may be a tornado, and this tornado may present itself as somewhat as a disaster, or one would simply say that it is course correction. Due to the energies that have accumulated in a specific area, there is the chaotic nature that is now in its revelatory form. And as this chaotic nature is in its revelatory form, it is termed a tornado. No, it is here to set some things that is chaotic into order. And that alchemization, that transmutation of a manifestation that is going from the chaotic form of the tornado into the ease of the wind is called course correction. Now, this whole process in human beings is called free will. So we all come here individuated into the consciousness of God. You could say we are all gods, and some choose to be demons, and some choose to be gods. Some choose to be angels, and some choose to be devils. Right? And this is the way of the world. This is the way of earth. This is the way that earth progresses in her ascension, in her accumulation of time, because that is what is happening. That is what is happening right now. Earth is accumulating time, and when I say accumulating time, I'm not saying she's storing up time. She's passing through time, and as she passes through time, the memory is what accumulates, because the earth signature never forgets anything, right? So as it never forgets, because it is divine, the divine is infinite, so there's no need to forget. As earth is within the divine, she never forgets, and as she never forgets, she accumulates time. In accumulating time, she processes time, and as she processes time, she allows the individuation of consciousness into God form, and this God form individuates into man form, and man form further individuates into different types of man, right? And not only different types of man, but you have different agents of man within the man. So there is the female agent and there is the male agent. There is the female agent and male agent that represents itself as black, and there's a female agent and male agent that represents itself as white and Chinese and Japanese and Indian and so on and so forth. And these different agents are allowed to mix according to their consciousness, right? So that is an example of how the arrangement or how the energy is working out as it relates to course correction and free will. Each person can choose whatever they choose to do. And I was speaking on the schizophrenic aspect. Now, this means that each person, by default, is coming through a schizophrenic process, because schizophrenia is the fragmenting of the mind. It is where, in my case, this is how I define schizophrenia, because I've gone through this process and I'm absolutely certain that this is the experiential truth that I have witnessed. Schizophrenia is what takes place when you've told so many lies that the mind fragments. And the purpose of fragmenting is showing you a symptom of lies. And the cure of that is to cure. I like that word. The cure. Okay. Because I'm hearing something as I said, the cure. Cure as in C-U-R-E. That's a cure. However, I'm hearing a cure as in Q, a line. A cure. You are the one that orders the truth of your being. You are the one that orders the lies, and if you do not arrange the lies in a way that it is beneficial, then life will course correct you. And that course correction that you chose will be looked at as schizophrenia. This is my experience. And right now I am cueing the order of truth to my being. And as I cure the order of truth to my being, my mind is represented as being well. So this is my expression for the throat chakra. because as I was saying earlier, the throat chakra has to do with the expression of the being, and in particular, the two aspects that it can be represented as is truth or lies, and that is the dualistic aspect of truth or lies, because then lies have a dual aspect of it. There is a big lie and there's a little lie. There's a big truth and there's a little truth. There is the inner truth and there's the outer truth. There is the lesser lie and the greater lie. So each aspect has a dual component to it. And I'm seeing that I'm getting to the stage in this presentation, in this episode, in this transmutation, where I'm seeing that, okay, inner standing, overstanding says, now I get it. I'm not entirely sure what, could you clarify what it is that you get at this point? Inner standing, overstanding. So I was saying that, okay, I'll rest and wait until you answer, or I'll give it some time. And while I'm doing that, let me just show the fire, and maybe I'll stoke the fire as well. Stoke the fire. What can I use to stoke the fire? Okay, let me put down this phone for a moment. Okay. I see inner standing says about the inside of truth, going within instead of outside of truth, going out. I'm not so sure I grasp what it is that you're saying. I believe you're saying, okay, about the inside of truth, going within instead of outside of truth, going. I believe you're saying that truth has the inner truth and the outer truth. The inner truth is based in personal or source truth. That is the truth that is undeniable. And then there's the outer truth, the truth that a person can deny. And even though they deny it, it doesn't mean that it's not true. It just simply means that they are not aware of the truth, so they deny it. That may be a simplistic way of putting it, and that's what I gather from what you've said. It is a beautiful way of saying it, and I do thank you for it. Now, let's see. The fire is blazing once again, and yes, I give thanks. No, this is where it is that I'm going to end this portal. I'm going to close this portal for the night, as I have gotten to that point in my transmutation And I thank everyone for who passed through, for passing through, everyone who came through and saw what took place. And for those who will come in the future, I thank you for experiencing this energy. Give thanks again, once again, inner standing, overstanding. Yes, I give thanks. It's always a pleasure to see the eye, you know. And with that, I say, Ashe and Amen.